Hello, everyone, and by everyone I mean probably no one. I don't think anybody watches this series, and I'm fine with it because this is just for me to go back and watch. When I, you know what? I'm going to make sure I'm recording. I am recording. Okay. Hello. We are on level 8, I guess, by my counting. If you want to count differently, maybe we're at a different level. But you know what? This one's actually a fun one. So I'm gonna play it while I describe it. It just makes sense to me. So this is spontaneous generation. So eventually, I want the wait 4, 5. New one. I also am spontaneously generating a piece of food, but every 5 seconds, and you see they go to their specific food. So this code is a little older than the rest of the things, rest of the code that I've been working on. I have not incorporated any, oh goodness, any type of generation into my current code. This is yeah, pulled from a bit of an old code, which is fine. But it's just fun to watch, and it gets crazy as it keeps going on. I think I watched this for like 5 minutes one time. Oh well. So last episode, um, I showed you death, or I showed you the potential for death. I think like two died, and then it kept breaking, but that's fine. So that was splicing an array. This is pushing an array. So push will add an individual, which we are calling the square class, an individual. Um, let's see, because the array I is in direct relation to square. It calls squares. Here we go. Squares I equals new square. And originally we had two squares, so I is less than 2, so I 0, I 1. Um, and we just had that, but then we added, where is it? Oh, this is how many squares are on the screen, by the way. I wonder if it's going to start. I'll note that later, actually. I wonder if it's going to start slowing down. I wonder if it already has. You can see there's nothing else. This code stops after square. And food. Somewhere's food. Maybe? Hmm. I have no idea where food is. You know what? It's probably within here, and that's why it keeps. Food is somewhere dug into square. That's fine. Where is it? There we go. If frame count equals is divisible, directly divisible by 300, so 5 seconds, because 60 frames a second. That's with the assumption that I'm running 60 frames per second. I don't know what I'm running. We'll just say I'm running 60 frames per second. Um, and as long as the timer is greater than or equal to -2, which it starts at 0 and it goes up, so it will never equal -2. Squares push, and you add a new square at 20, 20, 10, and its width is 10, its height is 10, so it's always going to create it there, and then continue on. And you can see that the new square actually has to catch up, which is something that I need to fix. So a square born at minute 5 is just as hungry as a square born at minute 0 if the square born at minute 0 had never eaten. Like, it has to go track down food almost continuously. It has to track down a lot of food. Um, so like everybody else is fine, but then you've got your newest squares are playing catch up, and they do a decent job. Um, but that's what I need to make individual timers that start when the square is born, so that you're not just birthed into my little world. Oh yes, it's getting crazy. You're not just birthed into my little world, um, and immediately hungry and thirsty, and that'd be horrible. That'd be miserable. The other thing is, I don't want spontaneous generation. I want reproduction. And I specifically called it spontaneous generation because there's no uh, occurrence happening. There's no collision between two squares uh, that are content and ready to mate to allow for a third square. So that's that's gonna be a fun one. Um, but I wanted to at least show you guys this code, and then just, yeah, the next one, it's going to be a lot of me writing down code in my little notebook, because I'm trying to figure out how to quantify desire. Please, nobody listen this far into the recording. That would be miserable. I have written in my little notebook, is horny a behavior? Because I need to quantify the desire to mate within a square. I need to quantify its desire to go towards another individual that's content, because if my squares go to individuals that are hungry, well, then they'll just continually chase that individual. They need to, two content squares need to find each other to make it to babies. And then I need to define, so this will be miserable, because right now it's just defining a very simple, every square that's ever born will be born right there, and it will never change. Well, obviously, if you have two squares that are able to mate down here and they connect and have a baby, the baby should not be born up in the top left corner. That's just silly. The baby is born with reason, in the area of those two adults. Right now, I'm trying to define what that area is if the adults can come into connection in any form of what am I trying to say? Not any, but they can hit each other from any side. They can run into each other from any side. If I'm defining my first array I and my second array j to define this square and the other square to signify them coming together, well then, if this square is above the other square, do I need to define its baby being born to the right, to the left? It's interesting. Yeah, actually, I'm trying to think of an equation where I'm trying not to actually bore the baby into one of its parents. Because if I say, the baby is born above square I, well then if square I is below square j, when they come into contact, then the baby's being born into square j, and well, that's a problem. So that'll be fun. That'll be lots of fun. But I hope you've enjoyed watching this code get kind of crazy. You know what? We'll at least go to 100. Yeah, we'll at least go to 100. We've got 94 squares. It's just beautiful in my mind. I love it. The other thing I need to do, I already mentioned it, but individual timers, and that will help immensely with defining. That will just help at any point a square that is not starting off in the code, the square that's born into the code, that's pushed into the array, will that's such a cool, all the squares going from red to white. I like it. Red, if you didn't understand, is hungry. I should have defined that earlier. We're past 100 squares. Wow, how about that? I hope you have a wonderful week. I hope you enjoyed seeing this chaos, and I hope I can amuse you with more chaos in the future. I'd love for my working code to get as crazy as this, but this is too many squares, and it would definitely start lagging. So enjoy the craziness every once in a while when I get a layer that I can reduce the rest of the code and just allow it to go crazy. And I will see you when I see you. I don't know when the next one's going to come out. So, yeah. But have a wonderful day, week, month, year, century, millennium. Yep, have a good millennium, actually. Please and thank you.